I welcome you all for today's session. In today's session, students, I'm going to pick up your last chapter of your Beehive, that is If I Were You. I hope you have seen the whole syllabus of Beehive and the chapters which have been deleted in the previous video, in the previous PDF file that you received. So as per that, this is our last chapter of Beehive that we are going to complete today. Now this chapter is going to be divided into two videos as it's a lengthy chapter. It's basically a play, okay, which is very interesting. It's a kind of a suspense play and I hope you all enjoy. So I would like all of you to open up your Beehive books on page number 137 and let's begin the reading. Now let's go to the characters first. Now the beginning of the play says, Gerard lives alone in a lonely cottage. An intruder who is a criminal enters his cottage. He intends to murder Gerard and take his identity. Does he succeed? So this is what the play is. This is the theme, or this is the basic background of the play. Now here, students, there are some phrases which you can solve yourself, and I'm sure you'll be able to solve them. Okay, and now going over to the starting of the play. Now we have the scene. Now the scene says a small cottage interior. There is an entrance back right, which may be curtained. Another door to the left must be a practical door. The furniture is simple, consisting of small table towards the left, a chair or two, and a divan rather upstage on the right. On the table is a telephone. So now okay, so basically we have two characters so far in the play, that is, one is Gerard and one is the intruder. Now let's find out who is the Gerard. Who is Gerard basically? When the curtain rises, Gerard is standing by the table making a phone call. He is of medium height and wearing horn-rimmed glasses. He is dressed in a lounge suit and a great coat. His voice is cultured. इसका मतलब ये है, यहाँ से हमें पता चलता है जेरर्ड की डिस्क्रिप्शन कैसी है. ही इज़ अ वेरी कल्चर्ड पर्सन, मीडियम हाइट है उसकी, उसने स्पेक्ट्स पहनी हुई हैं एंड वो एक अपना लाउंज सूट में है और उसने ऊपर से एक ग्रेट कोट पहना हुआ है, मीन्स एक लंबा ओवर कोट पहना हुआ है. जेरर्ड, well, tell him to phone up directly. I must know. Yes, I expect I'll still be there. I'll still be here. But you mustn't count on that. In about 10 minutes' time, righto, goodbye. He puts the phone and goes to the divan on the left, where there is a travelling bag, and starts packing. Whilst का मतलब होता है while. So while he is thus engaged, another man, similar in build to Gerard, enters from the right silently. Revolver in hand, he is flashingly dressed in an overcoat and a soft hat. He bumps accidentally against the table, and at the sound, Gerard turns quickly. So यहाँ पे हमें क्या पढ़ने पे पता चल रहा है कि एक और आदमी जो जेरर्ड की तरह ही दिखता है, सेम हाइट का है, उसने भी ओवरकोट पहना, उसने ड्रेस उसकी जो है फ्लैशी सी है एंड वो उस कॉटेज में एंटर हो जाता है. वो हल्का सा टेबल से टकराता है जिसकी वजह से जेरर्ड को पता चल जाता है दैट देयर इज़ समवन इन द रूम. ओके, सो लेट्स बिगिन द प्ले. जेरर्ड प्लेजेंटली, व्हाई दिस इज़ अ सरप्राइज, मिस्टर intruder. I am glad you are pleased to see me. I don't think you'll be pleased for long. Put those paws up. Now here, paws up means put your hands up. Gerard, this is a very melodramatic. This is all very melodramatic. Melodramatic means it sounds like a movie going on. Not very original perhaps, but intruder, trying to be calm and Gerard, nonchalant is your word, I think. Intruder, thanks a lot. You will soon stop being smart. I'll make you crawl. I want to know few things. See. So in this conversation, till now we get to know that Gerard is trying to be very calm. Gerard says, okay, what a pleasant surprise. The intruder says, don't worry, it is not going to be pleasant for long. Put your hands up. Gerard is trying to be again very calm, and he says, oh, this just sounds like a drama or some kind of a trick that someone is trying to play on me. Intruder says, okay, yes, I understand you're trying to be very calm. Non-challenge here means that yes, you are trying to be very challenging or you're trying to be very rude. So intruder says, yes, I am. So now put your hands up, and soon I'm going to make you crawl. Crawl का मतलब होता है that I will give you a tough time. So yes, before that I want to know a few things. I want to know a few things from you. So now we are moving on to the page next, that is page 140. Gerard, anything you like. I know all answers. But before we begin, I should like to change my position. You may be comfortable, but I am not. Intruder, sit down, and no funny businesses. Motions to the chair and seats himself on the divan by the back. Now then, we'll have a nice little talk about yourself. Gerard, at last a sympathetic audience. I'll tell you the story of my life. How, as a child, I was stolen by the gypsies, and why, at the age of 32, I find myself in the lonely Essex cottage. How? Intruder, keep it to yourself and just answer my questions. You live here alone? Well, do you? I'm sorry, I thought you were telling me, not asking me. A question of inflection. Your voice is unfamiliar. Intruder, do you live here alone? Gerard, if I don't answer. Intruder, you have got enough sense not to want to get hurt. So till here, students, what we get to understand is that when the intruder, that Gerard says that yes, I want to shift and I want to sit down so that I can see you face to face. Let me get in a comfortable position. Intruder says, okay, fine. And then even the intruder sits down on the divan. Then Gerard says, well, there is some. So Gerard's intruder says, I want to know about you. So Gerard says, so intruder says, yes, I want to know something about you. So Gerard is happy. Gerard says, okay, at last someone has come to talk to me and know about me. So he says, okay, I'll tell you how when I was very young, someone stole me, and now I'm at the age of 32 and I'm living in this small Essex. Essex is a hometown, it's a place in United Kingdom, students, in UK. Okay. So intruder says, answer my question. Do you live here alone or not? Again, Gerard is trying to be very calm, and he's trying to trap the intruder in his lines and in his words. Okay. And then at last, intruder warns him that you have to answer me. So Gerard says, okay, if I don't answer, then what will happen? So then intruder says, well, then in that case, you will get hurt. So let's proceed further. Gerard, I think good sense is shown more in the ability to avoid pain than in the mere desire to do so. What do you think, mister? Now Gerard is again trying to trap him. Gerard says, okay, well, yes, I understand. A good sense can be shown only when you try to avoid all the problems and you stay away from any trouble, isn't it? So now Gerard is trying to get to know the name of the person, but intruder is still not interested in telling him the name. Never mind my name. I like yours better, Mr. Gerard. What is your Christian names? Gerard, Vincent Charles. Do you run a car? No. That's a lie. You are not dealing with a fool. I am as smart as you and smarter. I know you run a car. Better be careful, wise guy. Are you so Gerard says, are you an American, or is that merely clever imitation? Intruder, listen, this gun is no toy. I can hurt you without killing you and still get my answers. Gerard, of course, if you put it like that, I'll be glad to assist you. I do possess a car, and it is in the garage round the corner. Intruder, that's better. Do people often come out here? Gerard, very rarely. Surprisingly few people take the trouble to visit me. There's a baker and a greengrocer, of course, and then there's a milkman, quite charming. But no one is so interesting as yourself. Intruder, I happen to know that you never see trades people. So till here, students, what we get to know is that the intruder is more interested in knowing about the details of Gerard. So he asks him, full name, tell me about your full name. Don't worry, don't ask me my name, but you tell me your full name. Then the intruder asks him, do you have a car? Gerard is trying to again trap him in words, and he's again trying to sound very calm and relaxed, so that he can handle the situation. The intruder says, well, okay, do you have people visiting here? So Gerard says, not many, but just the greengrocer, means the vegetable seller, and then the milkman, and the baker who comes to drop the bread and all. So the intruder says, okay, even I know this information, that not many people, professional people, or your office people even don't visit you. So now we are going over to the page 141, and let's see what happens further. Gerard, you seem to have taken considerable amount of trouble since you know so much about me. Won't you say something about yourself? You have been so modest. So Gerard says, well, I do appreciate you have taken so much pain to get information about me, to know about me. But tell me something about yourself also. Intruder, I could tell you plenty. You think you are smart, but I am the top of the class round here. I have got brains and I use them. That's how I got where I have. Gerard, and where precisely have you got? It didn't require to get brain to break into my little cottage. Intruder, when you know why I have broken into your little cottage, you'll be surprised, and it won't be pleasant surprise. Gerard, with with you figuring so largely in it, this is understandable. By the way, what particular line of crime do you embrace, or aren't you a specialist? My specialty, intruder says, my specialty is jewel robbery. Your car will do me a treat. It certainly is a dandy bus. Now here, intruder again. Gerard says, well, you know a lot of things about me, so why are you asking me the questions? So intruder says, see, don't try to be smart, because here in this situation, I am the person who is going to rule you. So I have brains, and it takes a lot of intelligence to get here. So Gerard is trying to make fun of him. Gerard says, well, your intelligence is used just to break into my little cottage. So you call it intelligence? Intruder says, no, there's a big plan behind it. And now you are trying to make fun of me, but when you really get to know what the plan is, then you will be shocked. So Gerard says, well, I am not able to figure it out, means मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रही कि तुम किस प्लान की बात कर रहे हो, बट चलो मुझे ये बताओ कि तुम किस क्राइम में स्पेशलाइज करते हो. So again we can get to know is that Gerard has a very good sense of humor, and he is trying to handle the situation very tactfully, means in a very calm way. Intruder कहता है, well, my specialty is jewel robbery, and तुम्हारी जो गाड़ी है, that will really help me to do my job which I am here for. Gerard, I am afraid all the jewels are few. Yes. So Gerard says, well, I'm afraid jewels are few and far between in the wild of Essex. So Gerard says, well, maybe you have come to the wrong area, because Essex में jewels नहीं होते हैं. Intruder, so are the cops. I can retire here nicely for a while. Gerard, you mean live with me? A trifle sudden, isn't it? You haven't been invited. So Gerard, intruder says, yes, कि मैं सभी पुलिस वालों से बच के यहाँ पे रह सकता हूँ. बट जेरड सेज, तुम यहाँ पे मेरे साथ रहना चाहते हो? अ ट्रिफल सडन मीन्स सरप्राइज, कि मैंने तुम्हें इन्वाइट नहीं किया, सो हाउ कैन यू स्टे हियर विद मी. इंट्रूडर, you won't be here long, so I didn't trouble to ask. What do you mean? Gerard says. Intruder, this is your big surprise. I'm going to kill you. Gerard, a little harsh, isn't it? Intruder, with a heavy sarcasm. Sarcasm means अब seriously थोड़ा सा वो बात कर रहा है. Yeah, I'll be sorry to do it. I have taken a fancy to you, but it's just got to be done. Gerard, why add murder to your other crimes? It's a grave step you are talking. Intruder, I'm not taking it for fun. I have been hunted for long. I am wanted for murder already. And they can't hang me twice. So यहाँ पे इंट्रूडर, यहाँ पे जेरड को वो कहता है कि यस तुम नहीं, तुम यहाँ पे रहने वाले नहीं हो, बिकॉज मैं तुम्हें तुम्हारा मर्डर करने वाला हूँ. सो जेरड सेज दैट यस इट इज़ वेरी रूड ऑफ यू टू से दिस, and why are you trying to do this, why are you trying to increase your crimes. So intruder says don't worry कि मेरे क्राइम पहले ही बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, मैं ऑलरेडी एक मर्डर कर चुका हूँ, और अगर मैं तुम्हारा भी मर्डर कर दूँगा तो मुझे दोबारा 2 बार हैंग करने से तो रहे पुलिस वाले. So Jared, you are planning a gratuitous double. So speak, admitted you have nothing to lose, but what have you to gain. सो यहाँ पे प्लानिंग अ ग्रेटिट्यूअस डबल, इसका मतलब है कि तुम एक डबल गेम खेलने की कोशिश कर रहे हो. सो टेल मी कि तुम्हारा प्लान क्या है. तुम खोगे तो कुछ नहीं, बट तुम्हें मिलेगा क्या मेरा मर्डर करके. इंट्रूडर, आई हैव गॉट फ्रीडम टू गेन. एज फॉर माई सेल्फ आई एम पुअर हंटेड रैट. एज विंसेंट चार्ल्स जेरर्ड आई एम फ्री टू गो टू प्लेसेस and do nothing. I can eat well and sleep and without having to be ready to beat it at the sight of the cop. Jared, in most melodramas, the villain is foolish enough to delay his killing long enough to be frustrated. You are much luckier. So यहाँ पे इंट्रूडर कहता है, इंट्रूडर ये बताता है कि मुझे क्या मिलेगा. फ्रीडम मिलेगी, बिकॉज मैं जेरड बन के यहाँ पे रहूँगा, एंड फिर मैं आराम से यहाँ वहाँ घूम सकता हूँ तुम्हारी गाड़ी में, और मैं आराम से सो सकता हूँ, एंड आई कैन ईट वेल, एंड मुझे पुलिस के आने पे फटाफट भागना नहीं पड़ेगा, बिकॉज आई एम गोइंग टू बी जेरड फ्रॉम नाउ onwards. So Jared is now a bit shocked, and Jared says, well, in most of the melodramas what happens is villain are very foolish, but now you seem to be very intelligent, and yes, you will become luckier also as per your plans. Okay students, so now I end the video 1 here, and in the video 2 we are going to start with page 142.